So what I was saying is basically I'm going to show you the short and long of what we're going to be doing before I actually do it. And we were not wrapped up in the sea of mathematics. And basically what we're doing is we want to figure out, we're given this much bromine. First of all, we need to figure out how many moles of the stuff we're dealing with. To do that, we use the periodic table, convert it into whatever, right? It looks to me about 2 moles, right? This right here will give you the skeleton of how much of the stuff we're dealing with. So if we have 1 mole of bromine, that means we're going to get 2 moles of bromine fluoride out. Um, if we have 1 mole of bromine, that means it would require us another 5 moles of fluorine to get 2 moles of bromine fluoride. Got it? Now your question was, if I have 384 grams, can't I just convert that straight to bromine fluoride by multiplying it by 2? Right? And my answer is this. No, because you're going to skip over a conversion factor, which would be drastically different. Because if you didn't convert it, that would be like saying instead of having 2 moles of bromine fluoride, you had 384 moles of bromine fluoride. Mathematically, it wouldn't make sense.
The
The
moles to
units won't make
grams.
sense. All of that kind of stuff wouldn't make sense. You need to throw in that conversion factor. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much bromine fluoride would you get, assuming that you dumped in a barrel of fluorine? Um, is you would do, oh, okay, fine, 384 grams of bromine fluoride, or of bromine. Now I gotta either multiply it by 159 grams or divide it by 159 grams
To find out the number.
to figure out how many moles of just the straight bromine that I'm dealing
Okay.
with. What would you do? Would you multiply it or divide it?
Um.
I would divide. I would put the 159.8 grams on the bottom
Mm-hmm.
because I got grams on top. I want grams on the bottom. I want to kill those guys. And I get 1 mole of bromine, or Br2 at least.
So 2.4 mole.
2.4 moles. All right, so about 2, like we said. So now that I have moles, so see how grams cancel out with grams?
Mm-hmm.
Now that I have moles, I can say, well, for every 1 mole of bromine that I'm dealing with, how many moles of bromine fluoride do I get?
2 or 2.
All right, so 2, no,
Wait.
for every 1 mole you put in, you get 2 moles
Oh,
out,
okay.
right? This is where you use the ratio. So now what we did was, for the first step, we converted how many moles of bromine we're dealing with. Then the second step we said is, after I figure out how many moles we're dealing with, how many moles of bromine fluoride am I going to do with? Then after you do that, then you can say, okay, well now that I know how many moles of bromine fluoride I'm going to deal with, I need to convert that into the number of grams, because that's what the question is asking.
Mm-hmm.
What's the number of grams of bromine fluoride? Well, to do that, you're going to need yourself a periodic table, and you got bromine, which is, oh, what happened to our, all right, bromine, which is 79.9, fluorine, which is 18.99. So 79.9 plus 18.99. I don't know why we don't round it and just make it 80 plus 19. You got yours?
Oh.
Because mine's is confusing. Yeah, pretty much. Was that 99? Yeah, all right, fine. Let's just assume it that then. Cool? So now bromine fluoride. Oh, I'm sorry. That's bromine F5. So that's 80 plus 19 times 5. Does that make sense? So I'm looking at 175 here.
Yeah.
175 grams per mole. Now in this case, do I divide it or multiply it?
Um.
Well, I have moles on top over here. So I'm just going to have to tell you because we're running out of time. I'm going to multiply it by 175 because I want moles on bottom. 175 grams on top. Cool. And looking at the units, watch, check this out. Grams cancel out with grams.
Wait. And
Moles
that.
cancel out with moles. This mole cancels out with moles, and then you're done. I'm going to answer your question in the next G.
Yeah.